Let's do it. Come on, wings roll. In 5, 4, 3. Wayne's World, Henry's World, Dallas World. Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
You said you were sleeping on your son's couch?
Yeah, I had kind of a rough night. We did the first Friday opening.
Family sleepover.
Yeah, and then my son played at Artismo's last night.
And what's he play?
He plays guitar. He's a very good solo artist.
Huh.
Yeah, so he was playing last night. I tried to
How old
upload
is
a
he?
video. 19. He'll be 20 in a week.
They grow up quick.
Yes.
It's like blinking an eye. You know, my daughter turns 30.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
Yeah. She goes, can you believe it? And I go, yeah, I've been there for every minute of it.
Right?
In California, whoever cuts the cord is the delivering doctor.
Really?
Yeah. And
So
I cut
if
the
you
cord.
cut the cord, you're the delivering doctor? So you write that on the birth certificate, I delivered my kid?
I didn't look at the birth certificate. We got it. But I cut the cord, and you know, I'm so high on adrenaline, you know, because I'm the first one to see her. I helped pull her out.
Mm-hmm.
They put like a suction cup on her head.
Yeah?
Yeah. And she like looked at me, and then I had a job for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Son's a son till he marries his wife, but a
Mm-hmm.
daughter's a daughter for the rest of your life.
Is that what they say?
It's it's the universe. It's the way it is. And like guys and their daughters, it's a different deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a whole different set of rules. You know, about how people talk, you know, and respect, and you know what I mean. Well, you're a daughter, you know.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So thank you for coming down to the art show yesterday. And so Agape Gallery, and do you want to talk about the idea here, the auction idea?
Do you want to talk? Have you talked about Agape on here before?
Oh, everybody knows me. Everybody on my show know almost everything I do.
Okay, because I haven't
Total
heard it on here
transparency.
yet.
Oh, well.
So do you want to tell me about Agape Gallery, and then I can tell you the idea so that the story kind of has a beginning and
Well, I
end?
wish you'd run Agape Gallery.
Yeah.
And that was a very nice moment when you talked about having new space to, display art from different people.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
No, that was nice of
That's
you.
huge, Henry.
You know, when people are nice to you, it's, I got a call last night. I got a text. I just happened to be up late. And then I got a call from that says this, if I want to be mayor, I got to be nicer. You know, I shouldn't call people out. But
Somebody called you at night, like in the middle of the night, to tell you that?
yeah, because they want me to be mayor.
Yeah, but I don't know. Somebody called me at night when I should be sleeping and told me that I should.
Wait a minute, who was that?
I don't know.
We might take calls online.
Okay.
You know, money talks and bullshit walks. Let's see. Oh,
If anybody would like to call in and offer me money, my phone is on as well.
we're gonna say hi to this guy
Okay.
because hey, I'm.
Our dynamics are changing a little bit. I'm bugging you now.
I know. Fuck. Oh, excuse me.
That's why we don't take calls.
Actually, I'm live on a show right now, and my guest actually hung up the phone. I said, "No, hang on. Money talks." And all right. So as soon as I get off my show, I'll call you back so we can talk offline. All right, brother. See, and this is the point. This is the point I was trying to make to 2 o'clock call boy.
Yeah.
Is my business right now is better than it's ever been in my life, ever. And so why would I want to change what I'm doing and how I'm doing it? You got to break some eggs to make an omelet. But you know what I liked about last night was the artists that were there said we shouldn't compete against Noto. that was kind of cool. And if we were going to do this, so Agape Gallery, this is how it all started. We got in, Tyler and I got involved with Agape Village years ago, and we've had trouble getting a not-for-profit going. And you know something? I don't think I fit in a not-for-profit because I'm a for-profit guy. It's how I think. So I think I could actually be better as a real estate developer, making money and then donating it to the not-for-profit that I want to support. But the Agape Village is going to pick another not-for-profit veterans project that we support, a couple of them, and that's in our business plan. We originally wanted to do some housing. And so a friend of mine, Mike Siegel, he said, I will donate proceeds of my art to support Agape Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
So Agape Village. So that's kind of how Agape Gallery got started.
Okay,
Okay,
my turn.
your turn. Go ahead.
Okay.
You're the guest.
Yeah.
I'd rather have this
No,
be
I
your
wanted,
show.
I wanted you to set it up for me. We're a team.
Okay.
Same side.
The ball's teed up and you got the driver.
I do. Okay.
You ever golf?
No, yeah, but it's not impressive. That's another story.
There's a joke about that. I'll tell you later, off camera.
Okay.
So go.
So, I am from an hour north on 75, a very small town, and I got hooked up with art in Topeka, kind of on accident. I wasn't a serious artist at the time, but I had people in Noto that believed in my work and thought it would be interesting to watch me progress. So I did that, and
Was that for the right reasons?
I don't do anything for the wrong.
Well, no, their motives. Their motives.
Oh, I'm not responsible for their motives.
Okay.
And I don't spend time
Wow, I
thinking about
like
it.
that. I like that.
So
That's a big woman. That's a big presence.
thank you. So I did progress, and my friends tell me I don't suck, and I'm just going to listen to them. And so, like, every town has an art space and an art culture. And there's a very competitive type of art culture in Topeka. And it just came to a place where a bunch of me and my girlfriends were kind of pulling our art and keeping it at home. And then I was told to come and talk to, I'm clean and sober, so I'm not in the party scene.
Are we going to talk about that?
We can talk about whatever you want, but I want to finish the story before we go on to something else. Or we can take phone calls.
No. Well, what if it was somebody wanting to be on the show?
Well, then
You're
they
live.
should
You're
schedule.
live on the Henry McClure live show. Are you calling to be on the show, or are you just calling Henry McClure?
I am just calling Henry McClure.
So, can I call you back as soon as I'm offline?
You can. This is Jane at Capital Federal Inc.
Hey, Jane.
Hi.
Well, what did I do wrong? I have plenty of money in there. Is somebody trying to steal my money?
Absolutely not. We have all kinds of security methods for that. So no, I just need to know if Tyler, if you wrote a check to Tyler.
Yeah, for 1,000.
Got it. He is here, and I just want to verify it's just a security measure to make sure that that is correct.
Oh yeah, he's a hard worker, and he's quite the contractor.
Excellent.
All right. Well, hey, if you run into John Dykes, tell him he's a good man.
I will definitely do that.
All right.
Whatever, you have a wonderful day.
Okay, I love you.
You're kind of nutty.
What do you mean? Carl Miniger said we're all crazy.
He's right.
Dr. Carl.
Yeah.
I like him. He's a big guy. I would tell him, hey, are you crazy? I was about to say.
So,
Go ahead. So you're clean and sober.
Yeah, so I'm not in the party scene, and it seems that like a lot of places that'll show your art are venues for music and stuff like this, and it's just. So I was telling my friends, I'm kind of looking for somewhere to show my art that isn't a party spot, and they said you should talk to Henry McClure. He's starting an art gallery. So I did.
Lucky
Yeah.
Henry McClure.
Yeah, lucky you to have my invaluable art.
Well, I'm going to buy
Here.
the one.
Yeah, it's not bad. I can't wait to do another one.
Can we do a layaway? So as as I make my next commission, I can pay the rest of it.
I'm a bit cutthroat, Henry. It's going to hang on the wall until you or somebody comes up
Oh,
with money.
okay. I like that.
So, and then
I might be cutthroat with the Republican Party if I don't get their support for mayor. But go on. That's another story too.
And then I was able to bring some other artists with me who are kind of we're artists. We're not musicians. We're not entertainers. So we're looking for a place that's all about the art and showing our stuff. And then your nonprofit is an incentive to buy our pieces. A portion of what we have is going to the nonprofit. It's an incentive to have some art on your wall that you didn't get from Bed Bath & Beyond, something that somebody local put time and love and intention into. And I think that it's important for people to have real art in their house that they can say, I know the person who painted this. I know the artist. I talked to him about the piece. This is the story behind the piece. And it gives the opportunity for, amateur artists, I think of amateur artists and they're professional, amateur artists like us to sell something and feel validated in our craft. So, yeah, so the art auction is what we are planning to do, and that's official now that it's online, Henry. So we are going to do art auction.
There's no turning back, Chuck.
There's no turning back. So we're going to do an art auction on the second Friday of the month, which would be in July. No date yet because I don't have a calendar in front of me. But the first Friday is going to be open. We're not going to compete with First Friday because we don't want to put any kind of wrench into the scene. That's so fun. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, why?
No
We don't
toe.
want to thumb our nose at no toe.
No, it's
All right.
great. I had a great time last night. I stayed out too late, slept on my kid's couch. It was awful. It was great. I love him. But so the second Friday
This is the 11th.
Yeah, we'll have an art auction where you come the first Friday, you view the art, you kind of pick out the piece that you'd like to have, and then you come on the second Friday, and we'll auction them off, and a portion of it will go to Agape Village so they can disperse it to veterans' needs or whatever nonprofit you're feeling at the time or whatever your business model is.
I think that we could turn this into a worldwide thing. So
I don't like worlds and wides. I
well,
like to,
we have to deal with it. But here, make sure this is close because I want to make sure. Okay. So Mike Siegel.
Yes, Mike Siegel.
Yeah. So
He's the featured artist.
which is interesting about this is because Mike is using art as therapy on his recovery journey.
We all are.
Yeah, it's cool.
Every single painter on the planet, everybody that does art or craft is using it for healing purposes.
So I used to work for Mike's uncle,
Yeah.
Ray Siegel.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because our journeys, Mike's and my journeys are kind of down parallel paths in certain ways. Because, our addictions were paid for by his uncle. And I left Mace Rich to start an internet shopping channel because of that worldwide thing.
Yeah.
And he left and he started a big internet company, but he was more dealing with the Hollywood types. He was taking movie trailers and tweaking them, actually making some movie trailers. So when I first got, like a decade ago, I started reaching out to people that meant something in my life. And if you haven't heard from me in 10 years, now you know why.
Same.
a friend of mine has a voicemail he puts on every once in a while. He goes, well, I just want you to know I'm making some changes in my life, and if I don't call you back, you're one of them, And sometimes it's a big relief knowing you never have to call somebody back.
Oh, yeah.
That, okay, that person now is out of my life for whatever reason, and not feel bad about it.
The only thing I don't like about that is that you can't delete their number.
Oh, I do.
Because if they ever call you, you want to know to not answer. So you have to keep their name and number in your phone.
Okay.
And then when you're scrolling through contacts, they pop up and you're just like...
But hang on. But that's different because you didn't call them.
Right.
So it's a turn the table thing.
Oh, that's like a tit-for-tat game playing thing.
It's just one less thing you got to worry about.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But if they're out of my phone, I don't give a fuck. So, anyway, back to Mike Siegel.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to Mike, and Mike is in the middle of some bad behavior with vodka. And I'm trying, I'm on the other side of all this, and I'm trying to get him to get on this side of the fence. And he's at 5 years.
That's a good spot to be at.
Yeah, 5 years is cool.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is how fast a decade goes. And then I look at Bianca, how fast did 30 years go? Because what happened to me on May 2nd, 2015, I've lost all concept of time. Because I'm just walking in the moment.
Right.
I live in the moment right now. So, hey, if the guy calls me, I got to talk to him. Right now. What do you need? Could be important.
I like living in the moment.
I love the moment.
We have different perspectives on living in the moment. See, I'm living in the moment with my phone on. I'm not going to answer it because I'm here with you. I'm doing this for you.
But
So
somebody might call in and want to talk to you.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Why would I want him to call in and interrupt us?
Because it's a show. That's the way we do things here in McClure Live.
Well, I prefer to be in the moment.
Well, they might want to
Physically.
They might want to outbid me on that artwork.
Well,
tell them about that artwork.
okay, if you want to outbid Henry on the artwork that we don't have a picture of,
we'll bring it in if we do a show again.
Then put it in the comments.
It's
$500 right now.
I'll post. Let's get an auction going.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. So I will put a picture of her in front of the picture in the comment section after this show.
Do you have a picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
I took a bunch of pictures last night. So, it's funny. James Bolden came in. Terry Honeyman was there.
Oh, yeah?
And then some other clients of mine. We had a good time.
Good. I'm looking forward to next time. It's going to be a little bit bigger next time.
So,
some more artists. We've got the artists that we have signed up now are Alicia Nichols, Sarah Snipes, and Madison Bugsby. And Madison is really good. She showed at the same gallery downtown that I did, and I really admired her work for a long time. And she does performance art, too. She's a comedian. She does a lot of stuff. I'm really excited about her joining.
So can she warm up on the day of the auction? Can she warm up the crowd?
Yeah.
And I go, yeah. Because we can do, not only can we do the auction, we can do it online, too.
I try not to complicate things. I don't understand why we can't just sell the piece that's physically there to the people who are physically there, so that the people that are the people that are there are not competing with online bids. We're going to be having to watch the screen over here, and if you want to manage that, you can manage that. I don't want to do that. So you can keep track of all the online bidding and all the in-person bidding,
But that's the way Sotheby's does it.
Yeah. I didn't sign up to work for them. I'm not signing up for that. It's complicated.
Yeah, I always complicate things.
If you want
I got married once. Hey, life was good before I got married.
Mhm.
Okay, so you don't find humor in that. But anyway.
I got married twice. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd take another shot at it.
No, I'm good, thanks.
Well, I'm on. Babe Ruth led the league in strikeouts. Same year he led the league in home runs.
There was a segment in our paper that was written by
In the Sabetha Express, what's it called?
Sabetha Herald, and it was written by one of the pastors of the Fairview Church, Shane Spangler, and he said that what you need to do is stop looking at the people who have made it. Stop
measuring yourself against them.
No.
What
You gotta
he said?
listen to the whole story.
Okay.
He said, stop studying the people who have made it and have succeeded, and start studying the people who haven't. He said he compared it to World War II, and they were bringing the planes back, and they were studying the bullet holes in the planes that landed, and trying to figure out where to reinforce the planes at. And the guy told him, he said, stop looking at the planes that were successful, and go find the planes that didn't get home, and find out where they were weak at. So stop looking at where people are going through hard times, making it through hard times, and being really, making it, and start looking at where the people who aren't making it need help.
So study, like Edison. The first 2,999 attempts. Study that guy, and then the 3,000 attempt was the light bulb.
Right.
So it's not that he invented the light bulb. He found that there's 3,000. It took 3,000 tries.
And that's how we got to the successful part, was studying the mistakes, the times he didn't make it.
So we need to study our failures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find
So
out where our weaknesses are.
that's all we have to do is look at the way the city of Topeka runs things and the county commission.
I don't know anything about the I
well,
come from a really small town.
But they're
There's
examples
3,000
of all the
people.
failures.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna, that's why we vote the incumbents out, because it's time to bring in Edison.
Okay.
All right. The politicians we're always trying to twist things, but it's not just politicians, it's salespeople.
Yeah.
A salesman, you got to be sitting in a room, and you read energy. That person's not buying what I'm saying. I can tell. They're rubbing their nose.
Well, it's sales. Sales is language, and I'm not a big fan of language, and I think it's because I'm not good at it. But the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, it was really successful, but it's a script. What you're doing when you sell something is you're reading a script.
Yeah, I can't do a script.
I can't do a script. I don't want to live in a
I don't
scripted
wanna-
life. But
no.
people are our brains are set up to be so susceptible to the script.
The Chamber of Commerce in this town writes the script.
I don't know anything about the Chamber of Commerce.
All right. So let's talk about fun stuff. Yeah, just take my shoes off. I hate wearing shoes.
Okay, let me tell you about me.
I got in trouble
You wanna
in
hear about me?
Billings. Yeah, I love hearing about you.
Okay, so
You're much more interesting than me.
I try. I think I prayed one time that I would never be bored, and God said, I got you. 'Cause I have an exciting life.
That's a good prayer. How old were you when you did it?
I don't remember, and I might have done it during a blackout. I'm not 100% sure, but let me tell you, my life is interesting. So, I was raised in a very small town in northeast Kansas. The population's about 3,000 people, and Sabetha, where I live now, my kids and I landed there, and we were really dysfunctional, really broken, and very antisocial.
Okay.
And the population of where I live is a third Apostolic Christian, a third Catholic, and then a third another variation of Christian, right? And we don't fit into any of those. But the community actually showed us by modeling behavior, by being compassionate and patient with us. And you wouldn't believe how compassionate and patient those people were. Though we did. They supported me through my sobriety. They've supported me through my corporate job, and then on to working for myself in my own business. So I'm really fortunate where I live at, and I get to know and meet all the people. So there's a community culture that we all, and it's so small that we all just live that way. We raise really good kids. We build really good families, and
It's a safe place for you.
it's awesome, you know. And I'm down. I mean, I don't know anything about Topeka, but I know that I'm not interested in city life. I'm spoiled.
See, to me, this is Sabetha.
Right.
To
Well, you
me,
see,
after
and
living in
Topeka-
LA for a
Topeka
decade.
does have a lot more going on, obviously, because of the demographics. And the area that I live in is very rural, and we take really good care of each other, but there are a lot of things that aren't available. We have, for instance, we have maybe 3 mental health agencies. 2 of them, I think, are the exact same one. We don't have a licensed psychologist there. All the mental health done is telehealth. If you have a crisis, you're sitting in the emergency room for 8 to 24 hours waiting for a place in Kansas for you to go. You know, so
For mental health?
for mental health, and
You go to the emergency room for that?
yeah, that's kind of your option.
Huh.
You can call a number, and the number will tell you, go to your nearest emergency room. They're going to have some paperwork for you to fill out. Stay there until somebody calls and says there's a bed. And if you leave and you're like, you know, I don't really feel like I'm in a crisis right now, and you leave and go home, and then like an hour
You're
later,
out of lane.
yeah,
Line.
yeah. So you'll have to go back and you have to wait another 24 hours in the emergency room.
Oh, sure.
Giddy build. So, what I'm in my own recovery from my trauma that I experienced growing up, which would create the kind of person that my community knows that I had been in the past. But in my own recovery and stuff like that, I've decided that I want to go to school for psychology, and I was really into it. I was really like, you know, this is what I want to do. I want to help people, because when you get out, you want to reach your hand back.
I hear you.
You know, so I'm studying psychology, and I'm watching the YouTube, the soft white underbelly, and I'm getting, you know, familiar with different. And then I realized that I don't think that I could be saturated in other people's trauma stories 24 hours a day. And I think that's where a lot of mental health people like burn out and stuff like that. So I'm like, I still want to do something, you know. So I got into yoga, and I got into yoga.
It's so
what
good
I got-
for you.
Oh man, but there's a somatic healing process that happens there, because when a traumatic experience
Talk
happens,
about somatic.
that's what I'm doing. When something traumatic happens, it flips your brain and your limbic system. And your limbic system is responsible for the cortisol and adrenaline and testosterone, I think it is, that goes through your body when you're scared or in danger or something like this. So when trauma turns into post-traumatic stress, you've got this constant fight, flight, freeze response going on constantly in your body, and your muscles are constantly being fed cortisol, but you can get cortisol poisoning. So the somatic, and yoga is like a small part of somatic therapy. So there's talk therapy, where you can go and you can sit in a room with a therapist for hours for the whole rest of your life and talk about the traumatic things that you've been through. But you cannot logically talk yourself into rationalizing something that should have never happened. You know, trauma is something so far outside of the box that it breaks our brains. So you can't sit and logically process, you know, you have to physically release the emotions. You have to realize that an emotion is a sensation in your body, and then you have to learn how to release that sensation rather than spending all your time. That's why I'm not really big on linguistics and language.
You're doing a pretty good job right now.
Yeah, but I don't, in therapy and in healing and stuff like that, because salesman,
No,
that's where I got off on this.
This is coming out so beautiful.
Well, salesman, everybody's got a script. And if you go to
Scripts
say,
People Live. That's a book.
I already don't like it. If you live on a script, you're scripting people through their trauma experience by a manual that you learned in psychology class, where trauma lives in the body and trauma needs to be released from the body. So that's what my nonprofit that I'm starting is going to be a holistic healing thing, and it's starting with yoga. So I'm getting yoga certified this summer while I'm on break from learning talk therapy. I'm going to learn somatic therapy and start a nonprofit, because the people that experience trauma and stuff like that, they get stuck in these cycles, and these cycles stick them into a lower economic circle. They stick them into unemployment. They stick them into places where they don't have the currency to go to a yoga studio and pay the fee. They don't have the money to go to the massage therapist and pay the fee, but those are the things that they actually need to get out of that cycle. So I want it available to everybody, especially in the small community that I live in.
So, actually, your community has a lot of money. I do know that for a fact. So,
We're farmers. We ain't got nothing.
well, there's some up there that have done well in your neck of the woods. And so, I'm personally having a personal dilemma about being involved with a not-for-profit, because it just goes against my whole life. And so I'm just curious, where's the fine line between so where are you going to get your funding, like from a foundation? Because I think the whole grant thing is going to dry up. I think grants are.
They already have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the grant circles. I've been mulling over this for about 5 or 6 years now. This has been my goal. So there are foundations. There's also community support. There's also my yogi, the woman that I learned yoga from. Her name's Ashley Kane. She's in she's in Topeka, and she does yoga on Tuesday nights. I can't remember where. Tuesdays and Thursdays here in Topeka, but you can look her up on Facebook, Ashley Kane. But she does a donation-based. So you bring whatever money that you can to the yoga session. And what you do is you keep your overhead as low as possible. You know, what are you doing, gas and yoga mats? So, yeah, there's all kinds of ways to raise money. And then
You could have yoga night at the studio.
Yeah, you can have one. And I don't know about, I think people in general are like this, but people who can afford to pay for those services will pay for those services and a little more, so that somebody who can't afford to pay can go. That's been my experience with people.
See, what I've done my whole life is identify business minds. And when I was first in the mall leasing business, you know, I had to go out and meet the local merchants and identify the minds. See, when I look at you, I look at the energy that I read from you, that I've been around you, is that as a very astute business mind. And it's going to be fun to watch you evolve, you know, through your education and just through your blossoming. But it's beautiful what you're saying and how you want to go about it. But you, to me, are an entrepreneur. And whether it's economics or you're like trying to entrepreneurially help people. You know,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it in a whole different way just on this show, that entrepreneurs can sometimes help people, and they're not worried about money. They're worried more about the results they get out of healing people.
That's exactly it. That's exactly where I'm at.
Are you glad that I connected the dots?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
I did good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't, yeah, it's a different kind of feeling when you're not doing something for money. Of course I have to work and stuff, but I'm of the belief, and in my recovery journey, I was given a book on the Red Road, the Native American Path to Recovery. And I think that medicine should be free, and I think that this is medicine. So I think that you can have a
Now,
path of
wait, you
healing.
mean the mental, the yoga's medicine?
Yes, Henry, the yoga is definitely medicine.
I love this.
Yeah. So I think that you can be a healer, but I don't think that you should ethically monetize it. Like you can make money on it, yes, but it can't be your full source of income, and you're doing the Olstein thing where you're living in a huge mansion and stuff. I think that's abuse, and I think that when you get to that level, things turn culty. And then when you get to a certain level of standard of living, you feel like you have to maintain it, and then it becomes an addiction, and then you'll do anything to maintain it, and then things go sour. So I think that I'm a good person for this because I don't buy into materialism, overconsumption, stuff like that. I don't need anything. You know what I mean? I need a car that drives and a house where I don't get wet when it rains. And
You know what Sunday's sermon was
but
last Sunday? It was about the lady that put like a penny or 2 pennies in the coffer, and Jesus said, you know, she just gave more than all of you because she was impoverished.
yeah, if you look at
She gave everything that she had
Mm-hmm.
to help. And I'm getting a vibe out of you that is really interesting to connect the dots. See, what I've tried to do with my recovery, like the best I can do for you is live by example. You know, I can't.
That's good. That's good stuff. That helped me a lot. Watching other people live and wanting to be like them.
The people that are out there like studying failures, watch me. Look at me.
That's important too.
Yeah,
It's all
exactly.
important.
Because I've been at bat so many times in my life because I love trying new and different things. You know, I had an exclusive on a Titleist shoelace from Australia, the sole importer, and I was trying to get these Titleist shoelaces into Foot Locker, Kenny Shoes, Adidas, Nike, Payless shoes, and Woolworth. Actually, I went back to New York.
Is there still a Woolworths? Is that still a thing?
Well, Woolworth owned Kenny Shoes, and then Kenny Shoes owned Foot Locker.
Okay.
Yeah. But Woolworth, I don't know if Woolworth's alive today, but I'll tell you, we'll look it up afterwards, or maybe on the show. But, so I met with the Woolworth people. And the Woolworth was there, and Foot Locker in the room. And I'm in this huge board meeting in New York, just trying to be an entrepreneur. And they said, well, can you get us 1 million units? Absolutely. And then I called my guy in Australia, hey, can we get 1 million units? And he goes, yeah, we can. No problem.
Good.
But I told him we could get it. But,
Before you knew if you
yeah.
get it.
I mean, I had 50,000 pair.
Sometimes you got to go out there.
I had 50,000 pair on hand. And, you know, I feel better for that swing and a miss. That's probably the most fun mistake I've ever made, except the internet. In '94, I thought shopping on the internet was going to be popular.
It is.
Yeah, but in 1994.
Well, that's like the stock market. You have to get in there before anybody else and just stick with it until
I
it
know,
explodes.
and everybody told me not to give up, but there's this fellow named Jeff Bezos that was doing really good in it, and it's called Amazon.
Yeah, I own some of their stock.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Smart.
Uh-huh.
Does it pay a dividend?
Yes.
What's it paying?
I don't know. I think I got 28 cents.
Oh, in a stock dividend? Yes, 28 cents you didn't have. I think
Exactly.
I think I made $20 on Facebook for Mark Zuckerberg. He's giving me money
Yeah,
just to
that's-
be online.
You got it. I'm big on that. My son and his girlfriend has got flip phones. They're done with social media. They're done with people contacting them all the time. They're dropping out. And there's a huge community of college kids that are all just dropping out flip phones. They're going back to that. You know, and
They're going to have a life.
yes, and it is. Social media is
Did you
so
ever have a
addictive.
landline?
Yeah, yes I did. I saw girls last night at No-No, and they're just walking down the street, you know, no clue. There's so many people, and everybody's all dressed up. And
They're
there's
not
so
present.
Yeah. So I think that you have to, use Facebook's free. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to do something, you've got a platform, you want to say something, use Facebook for what it's for.
Well, one of my
But make sure you're
political
living your life.
one of my political friends said this is a Facebook town. And see, why I call people out is because people don't want to be publicly humiliated.
No.
And that's why Cody Foster shouldn't be taking $9.5 million for the AT&T building.
I don't know who that is.
I know, but they do.
I forgot you were there.
Hell with them. But listen, that's cool. You know, I learned a lot about you on this show. And, but I see it. Like the other morning, I just got up and I said, you know something, I just need to stretch out. You know,
Yes.
I was a state champion gymnast.
Yeah, you told me that.
And I beat my body up. You know, my body is, you know, it's taken a lot of abuse. You know, because what happens is you get addicted to pain. You
Yeah,
literally
you
do.
can.
You
Or
can
you
get-
just get complacent in it.
well, this is a different kind of pain because of the adrenaline you get.
Oh.
And then you become kind of a masochist because you learn to cope with the pain. And then that's what makes you the perfect drug addict.
Yeah, they do say
You can
that.
deal with the wreckage.
Yeah, that's what they say is you have a high tolerance for pain.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what coming back to Topeka has been for me now, sober. I feel all the pain, and now I'm hearing, you know, running for political office it's something I felt like, if you're walking by a drowning person, you'd help them out. I mean, most
Yeah.
of them.
I love it. I love it that I know people who are running for office. I'm not going to do it. But it's so important for me and for everybody else to be able to say, hey, that person cares enough about politics that they're gonna invest themselves in being, whether it's
I care about
this
you.
side or that side.
And I care about you guys out there. I do. I care about people.
I think it's awesome. It doesn't matter what side you're on. I'm all about get in there and trying to make a difference based on what you believe. My friend Devin's running for governor.
Devin who?
Devin Welcher.
Is he filed though?
He's a her. I don't know yet.
He's a her?
Uh-huh. And then my friend Jolie Lippett is running for commissioner in the 1st district.
No, that's a city council person.
City council person, yes. I'm
I-
not from here, I don't know, but I'm
No,
telling
I
you,
met
got the
her and I
picture.
know her.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. She
She's
goes,
like-
I invited her to be on the show.
She's like 10 years younger than me, and she's one of my role models.
Well, she goes, but Henry, you and I think a lot differently. So what? Let's get it out there.
Yeah, but you guys think differently, but you have somewhat of the same communication style, so like
Well, I did invite her to be on the show.
it would be like, I don't know.
You know, I had Doug Billings on the show the other day.
I don't know who that
He's
is.
running for governor.
Oh yeah?
And he knows Trump, he knows Cash Patel. He does a podcast, but his is all, it's not film. And I said, hey, post on my page, and, you know, I get 2 million views a year. And he goes, hey, thanks a lot. I'll do that. He goes, my podcast gets 2 million views a month. I go, okay, humble Henry, let's keep him humble.
Right.
Humble the host.
What's the population here in Topeka?
Inside the city limits, like 126,000.
Okay.
So what happened was white flight. Have you ever heard of white flight?
No.
So after Brown versus Board of Education, and so do you know about the 5 schools in Topeka that were all black? This is back in the
I'm not
50s.
even from, my family came from Austin.
Austin, Texas?
Mm-hmm.
So, but back in the 50s, in 501 school districts, there were all black schools. And so what they did was they gave the black schools the first choice of the teachers in 501. So the whiteys could never say, well, or the black people could say, you never gave us the right, or the whiteys could say, let me put it this way, well, we gave you the best teachers, but you're over there. You're separate, but you're equal because you had first choice of all the teachers. So my grandfather, he did not believe in separate but equal.
Mm-hmm.
And he just happened to be on the school board. And that's why it's so important sometimes to get involved. I think the most important level is school board and city council. I really do.
Yeah, it's the small offices that.
Yeah, and
Yes,
maybe
very important.
more, I think maybe more so the school boards today. Because you want to feed your children the right information.
I don't know about that. I'm not interested in politics.
Well, but are you interested in education?
No, I don't have any kids in school.
But don't you care? Let's talk about humanity for a minute. So, we'll wrap this up, and because I respect you're not interested, Peg.
Thank you.
I do. I like that.
We're still going though, right?
Yes.
All right.
Real quick. So after Brown versus Board, my grandfather was in charge of integrating the schools, but a lot of people that lived inside the Topeka didn't want to go to school integrated, so they moved out into the county. And that became fight flight. Because we're such a racist community. It's just ingrained. They're originally, when Kansas joined the Union Army, there was a constitution. The first constitution had a black law in it from Lecompton, and
Yeah, there's a lot of history there with Lecompton, Topeka. isn't
well,
there?
yeah. After Quantrell came over from Missouri and burned Lawrence and killed women and children, I think it was like 83 murders. Then Kansas decided to join the Union Army. But it wasn't that they were against slavery, they were against black people originally. And then that didn't fly. They de-ratified that constitution, moved the capital here to Topeka, and then we became a free state. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I love history.
Yeah.
Because you're studying those failures.
Exactly.
See, I listen.
Good job.
But you know what I learned the most today so far?
What?
And because there could be more to come, is, hey, look who's on there's your boyfriend. Hey, Trent.
Hi, Trent.
Anyway, what was I saying? Should I not say?
Well, listen.
Okay, sorry for the distraction.
So I've been on. I've been passionate about.
Oh, the
politics.
yoga
I've
thing.
been- yeah.
The yoga thing was the most beautiful thing.
I don't leave people out of my circle anymore. The circle should be open because everybody is needed. That's what community is about. So I don't do my political opinions matter at the voting booth in private. I'm not going to change anybody's opinion. I'm not taking a political role in changing anybody's opinion. So my job as a citizen is to make sure that you feel seen, heard, and loved while you're sitting next to me. That's what I can do. Everything else is in the voting booth. And I'm not closing my circle off. I'm not telling anybody they're wrong about what they believe. I believe everybody feels like they're doing what's best. That's what I believe. Everybody feels like there's nobody out there going, I'm going to destroy America. That's my one mission. No, everybody believes they're doing what's best. And what I believe is what's best is making sure that you feel heard, seen, and loved when you're in my presence. And that's an everyday work, that's everyday challenge, that's an everyday growing experience for me.
You need to research the city water department. The city leaders are effed up. Can I answer Trent real quick?
I guess, yeah.
Because the water department is where I get the most whistleblowers. And,
Why are you worried about whistleblowers?
well, because people think I could affect change if I were the mayor. So they come to me.
Oh, so they're blowing the whistle, they're telling on them to you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't understand how this stuff works.
No,
I
no,
do
no.
yoga.
No, but everything you talk about, so, everything you talk about, that living in that negative, having all this negative energy come to you because they want you to, so I took on this thing that I'll be the voice of the rest of us.
Good.
And
That's needed.
yeah, so I'll stand up and fight. I feel like I'm fighting corruption, and I think Topeka is a very corrupt town, and the people at the water department are the biggest whistleblowers because we have an inefficient leader of the water department, and we need to put a guy. We're better off hiring somebody that really knows how to run the water department, making them a leader. And I think you guys might. I think the community might see the city manager form of government go away. But what we really need to do, and we'll go back. I'd rather talk about yoga.
I would too, because I don't understand your city water department stuff. Hey, Trent, maybe save that comment for when he's talking to another politician or city water person. Let's talk about yoga.
So, my daughter goes to yoga in Kansas City. Have you ever met Bianca?
No,
Talk about her.
I talked to her on the phone one time.
They're always talking about the hotel. Hey, we can hold yoga sessions in the hotel.
Oh my God.
Okay. So, when did so do you like reach a new mental state during yoga?
I have, yeah, and it's slow and it's progressive. When I first got sober, it was during COVID, and I was having a hard time staying sober. But the people at my job, we all got COVID, and they sent us all home, and I had to quarantine for 2 weeks. So I cleaned out a room in my house, and I decided I was going to get sober, and I didn't have anything to do. So my mind was racing. I was having anxiety. I was having withdrawals from alcohol, all the things. So I got on YouTube and I started doing yoga because it focused my mind. And when I started, there were so many poses that I couldn't do, and I felt so, like a beginner. But as like the years went on, I'm like, I saw myself getting good at it, and that reinstated my faith in myself. That's like my book of evidence. When you have a book of evidence that says that everything you touch you screw up, every job you get you lose, you can't do this, you can't do that. You've got this book of evidence.
You're studying your own mistakes.
Yeah, so you've got
The light bulb book.
Yeah, the light bulb book. So I've got this book of evidence that says that, I can't do this. And then I got this book of evidence that I'm writing that says, yes, you can. And yoga was my first thing that I could do and I could get good at, and I could calm my mind.
And you can do it anywhere.
Yeah, I could soothe my own limbic system. I could get myself out of fight and flight, and sit in a chair and be a normal person and all the things.
You're enjoying sobriety.
I love it. Oh my God, I want
Do
to
you
do
feel
everything.
you're sober?
Huh?
Because there's a big difference between abstinence and sobriety. People don't really catch it. Just because you're not drinking doesn't make you sober.
I think it's
Or
the
using.
intention. I think it's the intention. When if somebody's got a health problem and their doctor says you have to quit drinking, and they go home and they're bitter about giving up their fun, their thing.
Intention is a good word,
Yeah, but
because
if you're giving up drinking for a better life, you put everything you got into that better life. and
your
then-
whole energy towards what you're doing is intentional.
Yes,
And that's what will make you successful at it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The intentional part of it. And what happened to me in my experience, the enlightenment, it was the minute I came back into my body.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking
I was
about.
sober. It's sobering. It's sobering to get a glimpse of the future. It's real sobering. When you find out that whatever kills you isn't as painful as the pain of your transgressions.
Right. That's true too. Yeah, I feel like I'm in my body. I'm 42. I feel like I'm in my body. And I don't want to ever do anything that's going to make me feel out of my body or out of control again, because it feels so good to be so aware. I don't know, maybe I was really bad off, but clarity feels so good.
You can never go back.
No.
No, you can never go back. And people go, well, why, you go to bars. And sure, I don't have any triggers. I mean, hey, these are my people,
Yeah.
I can drink iced tea.
I'm not interested in bars. I'm not interested in
I mean,
being
if
around
somebody
people
wants
who
to
are
have-
outside of their body.
I understand,
You
but
know
if
what I
somebody if they want to have a meeting and they want to meet at a restaurant, and it's a bar, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, I think we're talking about two different things. What you're talking about is like a bar and grill where people go eat, and I'm talking about a bar where
A
you
bar
know,
bar.
Yeah, where Jessica Walker could possibly end up in jail with or without clothes on. So, no, I don't want to go to bars. I don't want to.
If I'm going to go into a bar, it's maybe to get an iced tea and use the toilet, and then I'm out.
No,
Yeah, I get it.
yes,
I get it.
for
I get
that,
it.
yeah. I don't want to be around people who are outside of their body. I don't want to be around people who aren't themselves. You know, I don't want to look in somebody's eyes and see that they're not quite there when I'm talking to them. You know.
See, I never felt outside my body as an alcoholic. You know, I just, like, I didn't care what people thought of me no matter what. And so, if I'm drinking, I didn't care, you know.
I didn't either.
Hey, we're in a bar, dude. You're gonna chastise me about drinking? You're here too. So shut the fuck up, you know.
Yeah, I think for me now, it's not so much what people think of me. It's the new lifestyle. It's respect for my community. The community that feeds me is responsible for my livelihood. You know, stuff like that. I don't care what they think about me. I'm not gonna disrespect them.
You know where I win? Is my daughter gave up drinking on her own.
Yes, you said that.
Yeah, and she's into yoga. She's totally getting into yoga, and she's one of the most grounded people I know. And like,
It's the yoga. Yoga does that.
well, the other day she calls, or we're talking, and I talk to her all the time, and I'll probably call her, but she goes, Dad, we're right where we're supposed to be in life.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, everything that we're doing is right now. It was comforting hearing that from her. It was comforting that she feels safe
Yeah.
and going the right direction.
When you wake up in the morning and you set your intention, you do your yoga, you stretch your body out, you release all the tension, and you set yourself up for a good day, you feel like you have control over your life. You feel like your life is in the right direction. You feel like you're living with intention.
I like this intention thing.
Oh, I love it. Oh, my friend has a tattoo that says living with intention. It's a thing. It's a thing.
I feel it.
I used to work for this girl who would say, my life is on purpose. I always like that too. Because your intention, everything that you do during the day is planned, intentional. You know, you can't plan the outcome, but you can definitely set yourself up for success.
The last couple of days, I've come to work and say, like yesterday, I was going to take the day off. I'm having a vacation day, but I had to come in here and get something. And I started working, and I got so much done because I was on vacation.
Yeah.
And like, it was a good time management for me. And like, okay, just get what you need done now so you can go be on vacation.
Right?
Intentional.
Intentional.
Intentional. I'm gonna write it on the board. That's the word of the day.
Yes.
And you ought to wake up every day
With intention.
with intention.
And I learned intention and that's another thing about yoga is like the process of learning things. So I had to learn intention before I would go somewhere. What is my intention on going? You know?
So have you heard of goat yoga?
I'm not.
Yoga?
No, goats are not. No, I
They're
have
a distraction.
There's so much weird stuff out.
With
I
goat
don't-
yoga?
No,
Okay.
not interested in weird stuff.
Okay.
I don't understand people. I don't.
That's a study. That is a study.
Oh, you're like all bent over in a pose, and then some little goat comes up and just pees on you.
Oh, shit.
And everybody's like, "Oh my God, that is so cute! Instagram."
The last thing I want is a goat golden shower. Noted.
Yeah.
All right, what else? What else are we doing? So talk about you're a Jayhawk. Let's talk about school.
Yes, let's talk about that.
So what do you got to do to finish?
I have to take all the courses that are required for my degree, Henry.
Well, how many?
I don't really know. I've got my associates, so I'm not far.
So you want to get a master's in psychology?
I think I'm going to go ahead and get a master's. I think so. I haven't really decided. If I had to be honest,
You can.
if I absolutely had to tell you the truth, getting a bachelor's in anything is going to up my annual income by like $2,000.
That's not a lot of money.
That's not a lot of money.
See, if I buy that art today, you're a fourth of the way there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your support.
See, this is what I'm getting at with you and your entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
I have.
I had a guy, I was making purses. My kids moved out and I'm nuts. So I have got their jeans from when they were little. I got their favorite little t-shirts. I got this, that, and the other thing. And so I had to do something with all this stuff. So I started making purses.
You
And
start a manufacturing business out
See,
of the storage.
that's what I'm getting at. So I started making purses and I had a Cricut so I could put cool stuff on them, you know. And I made a few of them and I told my friend in Florida about it. He's like, oh, you need to put those online. You can have 50 orders by the end of it. Why on earth would I want to sit at a sewing machine and put out 50 of the exact same purses?
You send that to China.
No. How about I just make what I feel like making,
Yeah.
and then this one will sell? How about I don't make my income dependent on my hobby so that I don't end up hating my hobby? And then I got my Cricut, and somebody's like, let me order a bunch of shirts. No, you're not ordering a bunch of shirts from me. I'm going to make what I want, when I want. And if you want to, because my livelihood isn't dependent on my hobby, so I don't end up hating my hobby. I like to have fun. I don't want to join the hustle culture. I want to enjoy my life, you know?
So, but you're going to go ahead and finish it because I sense a little bit of you being stubborn.
Yeah.
So you'll finish the degree because you're stubborn.
No, I'm going to finish the degree because it's what I want to do.
To help
And it doesn't have anything to do with being stubborn. It has everything to do with wanting to better myself.
Okay. All right. So you ought to. Remember, I offered you that internship. I'll do that.
I'm not, Henry, I live in a population of 3,000 people with the demographics that I explained to you earlier. If I'm going to work for free, I'm going to work in the community that feeds me. I'm not going to drive an hour.
He's a Jayhawk.
I'm not going to drive an hour to
Call him
work
on the
for
phone.
free.
No, an internship isn't working for free. An internship is a project. It's just like a school project. You're not in. It's like writing a paper, or it's not going to work for free for a guy, because that's the last thing this guy wants is anybody around him.
I could look into
The
it,
psychology-
but my volunteer work and my internship,
Yeah, I
I'm
got
going to
it.
save that for my community because that's where I belong.
Well, but Lawrence is your community while you're a Jayhawk,
Yeah.
and he's a billionaire, so.
Oh, maybe he wants to order 100 shirts for me so I can sit at home and
He doesn't
repetitively make
He doesn't
t-shirts.
want to do anything. People always will come up to me, hey, does he want to do anything? No, he doesn't want to do anything.
I will turn down $1 billion to do work for free in a community that has helped me so much, for sure.
All right, well, I'm not selling anything today.
Good. So I'm gonna buy
Yeah.
I'm buying a pair of shoes. I need a pair of new shoes.
I don't even need shoes anymore.
I see that. What do you got on your foot? Is that paint, or is that part of the where you painted the floor in the gallery?
Well, where I painted the floor in my house.
Oh,
And then I got some paint, where that splatter was?
yeah.
I got to redo that splatter. I had that splatter really looking good on the door going out to the gallery, but I fucked it up by, sometimes less is more.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this green paint of the door, and I had it all splattered, and it really looked good on the white. And I should have just left it alone.
I didn't get to see that. I saw Sarah was looking at it, and she was telling me how great it was and everything, and I even came out of that door, and I didn't get to see
Oh,
it.
because it's behind the door.
Yeah,
The door wasn't shut.
but I heard that was pretty impressive. So maybe you should do some art.
I love doing art.
You should get a big canvas and just throw a bunch of paint at it.
I did.
The wall?
Yeah, the wall.
No, I like canvas that somebody can take home. That they can buy at the auction and take home.
I'll absolutely
Oh,
paint.
that sounds like fun.
It's fun.
Let's do it in the parking lot. I'll do one, you can do one.
It's fun. It is, you know, I got art all over back in here. It's funny, I got an art on this wall, and some lady came in, Deb Goodrich, not just some lady. Deb Goodrich is a historian and a writer, and just an adorable person. And this art, I don't know where it came from. And she goes, "Oh, you've got a so-and-so," named the artist.
Oh, yeah.
Because I couldn't even read his signature. And it's like, it's a famous piece of art, and I didn't know it. Isn't that a cool one?
Is that a famous piece of art?
Yeah, man, I met the artist. This was up in Diamond Bar. It's like, it's where all the signs in LA are all in Chinese.
Okay.
And
Is that Chinatown? Is that in LA?
it's a Chinatown. Yeah, I think it's up in Diamond Bar.
Okay. I'm
It's
never-
a city. But it's cool. So I meet this artist. One of my clients takes me in, and he's loved me because I helped him get some deals. And he said, "You can have any piece of art in this place." And there's like one painting was as big as this wall, and it's like that.
That's awesome.
And he had that type of art everywhere. But isn't that, see, I look at that and I can get relaxed. You know, it's like I can hear the water, and then, you know, the people that are talking in that, you know, they're at peace. And so I've always looked at art. My mom did some really neat
Yeah,
paintings.
you got those in your house.
My sister painted, and she was an alcoholic, and but like her escape was through her paintings,
Yeah.
and it was stronger than alcohol, but
Yeah.
what she
get that.
did, so she lives in the paintings. To me, she lives. Every time I look at,
Is she
It's-
still alive?
no,
Yeah.
she died.
Tell the story about your mom, and you didn't believe that she was blind because she was such a good painter. I heard you tell a part of that. I heard part of that.
Well,
story.
Mom had macular degeneration, and what she could see and not see. I mean, the doctor one day said you probably ought to stop driving, and she thinks she stopped driving too early. But like what she saw, and we did the books on tape, you know,
Yeah.
and that was a really cool program, and you know, she was always what was the word of the day? Purposeful.
Intentional.
Mom was intentional her whole life about learning more. And Mom, I learned, if I'm any good at this at all, I learned it from my mom. Because my mom would give people the third degree. You know, if you
Good
sat
for
down and talked to her. Oh, she was a character.
Was she right, though? Giving somebody the third degree and being right about it are two different things.
No, it wasn't. The third degree was more of just like, well, tell me all about yourself.
That's not the third degree.
No. She just was interested in that and wanted to know, you know, who do you know? What do you know? Where you been? How are you? I'm glad you came by. I love you. So my mom was like, when she finally divorced my dad from his alcoholism and philandering,
So you come from a pretty long line of, it was hereditary in your family, alcoholism.
well, it's sporadically, it skipped a generation. The judge was sober as a judge, but he was an interesting guy, and he didn't drink. He goes, just tell me the benefits of drinking, and I might
Right.
consider it. If you can just sit down, and but my dad's alcoholism came from World War II, because every time he got in one of the V-29s, it's his last mission, you know?
Yeah,
He trained to drop the atomic bombs.
so he was drinking to his last day on Earth every day.
But I forgave my dad. In fact, today, I mean, we were putting a deal together in the war room, we call it, and it's like I see my dad, how my dad did contracts and put deals together because he understood the tax code. And all of a sudden, I'm in this thing, in this moment, and I'm having fun putting a deal together. I'm learning what makes me tick still today, right? If you systematically look at the failures. And I don't have a problem with that.
Looking at the failures.
Yeah.
We got a theme. Intentional and study the failures. We got a theme for our podcast.
Well, what's beautiful about besides you, yes,
Can you see me?
but you're intentional about your wanting to heal people.
Yeah.
And so my addiction has always been business. And there's a program out there, not new, it's new to me. It's called Boots to Business, where you can take veterans and help them get in business
Right.
because of the trauma. So my dad was a navigator. And then I found this, my mom actually went down to the Border Patrol first. The judge got him like a King's X card where you didn't have to go into the war, and he was going to guard down at El Paso. And my dad felt like, oh, this is bullshit. We got to get in the war. And he and his brother both joined. And but Mom went out to 29 Palms. She lived out there. And it's part of.
What's 29 Palms?
Well-
Where are we at? Give me a visual.
Okay, so you know where LA is?
Yeah.
You know where Palm Spring is?
Yeah.
And Palm Desert, and then 29 Palms is out there, like
Okay.
in the Palm
It's
Desert.
like
area. It's an army
community-
base.
Okay.
It was
There we
all
go.
army, and that's where they were training to drop the atomics. So they took 5 crews of 5. So the crew is made up of 5 people, and they took 5 of those, and they taught them how to, they were planning to drop the atomic bombs. And Dad never flew the mission, but he was the first guy to fly over the Mo when the Japanese surrendered. And I stood on the surrender deck, and I have a piece of it.
Oh, yes.
And when I showed Dad that,
Mm-hmm.
he broke down, and then I learned it was actually the day I met my dad, because then he told me everything. It was
Yeah.
almost like Dad and I had an AA meeting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 2 drunks. Hey, now I'll tell you all the stuff because we got something in common. I did go to some meetings.
We can't talk about meetings, Henry.
Why?
They're anonymous.
Well, what? I went to a meeting? That's anonymous? Nobody knows which meeting I went to. I did Fight Club. You ever heard that?
I did hear of Fight Club. That's another reason. I did a lot of research on you before I picked up the phone and called you. And that's one of the things that I heard a lot about was Fight Club.
Well, I'm not anonymous about it. I respect anonymity, or maybe I don't. But to have people come up and tell me I helped the Fight Club itself, not me, save their life, that's beautiful.
That is awesome, and I've heard that. That's what I've heard about you. When I was asking people, do you know who this guy is? I'm working on not making I'm working on not making my recovery program my identity.
That's beautiful. You know why?
Because
It's none of their business.
Exactly. So
It's
that's
none of their
what-
business.
That's what I'm working on.
People will still say I'm drinking because they're hateful.
Oh, you would know if I was. The signs would be obvious. I have an allergy, and as soon as that stuff hits my system, not only am I a different person, but I am Animated. It's bad.
But isn't that good that those days are gone?
Yes, I don't live that way anymore.
But the minute I find out somebody's got that issue, I start having compassion. You know, I do. I have compassion for people that.
And that's obvious with the things that you do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I love people. I'm lucky to be here. I'm here but for a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
So why not take the best of your life, the rest of your life, and do something good? Try to help.
That's why we're friends. That's what we're both doing. That's our intention.
Yeah. And one of the best things it says I should be doing to find my center is yoga.
Yes.
And
if you want to do yoga in Topeka, let me hook you up with my yogi, the girl that I learned from. I used to come down on Sundays and we did private sessions. So it was just one-on-one.
you know, when I was a gymnast, one of the best moves I ever did was the Chinese splits, and then lay your body down. It's called a pancake.
Yeah.
And that was flexibility. And I think that's something that I need to become in my life, is more flexible.
Yeah, because mobility is the key to longevity.
Well, and also up in the brain.
Yes. It does a lot for cleaning out all the garbage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like a friend of mine, the 2:00 phone call, you know, you need to go to Robinson Middle School and shoot hoops to prove that you're just like a down-to-earth guy. Well, no, I don't. I don't need to. I'm not that guy. I've been so busy in my life. So what I did after the transcendence was just got back to work. I was goofing off too much, day drinking and shit. So I got online and looked up, I'm an alcoholic, all these things. So just work those steps. Did it on my own. And I felt good about it and moved on. The first meeting I went to, my ex-wife called me and said, would you meet me at a meeting? Would you go to an AA meeting with me? Yeah, absolutely. All right, what else?
I don't know.
We're not supposed to talk about AA. Not supposed to talk about Fight Club.
There you go, so scared to say.
I know. That was the whole thing. But I wasn't going to let the government tell me what to do. And that's why I didn't get vaccinated. I didn't want the government to tell me, you got to get stuck with this jab. Nope. Not going to do it. I want the freedom. I want the freedom to crash and burn on my own.
Yeah, I
So-
get that. You can have that.
I'll do my best to not have transgressions at the day of reckoning.
I'm karma. I'm going to try not to have bad karma so I don't ever have to come back here again.
Man. You know, I've had clients that really think that way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's cool.
It's not a wrong way to think.
No, and it's
Your way
plausible.
isn't- your way isn't a wrong way to think. And
It's plausible.
Yeah.
Because if God could come down and walk the earth, well, maybe there's other ideas out there floating around that could be plausible.
Or he could keep sending you back to Earth to learn your lesson
Your
before you get
punishment.
liberation. You know.
They say those that believe in reincarnation say it takes 1,000,000 times. You know, you might come back as a bug and live a day. And
I don't know. I'm not a student on the spiritual practices of Hinduism because I have my own, and the school that I'm going to for yoga is integrated and shows where this principle in yoga can be applied to Christianity or other alternative forms of religion. So I'm not studying Hinduism and their theologies. I'm studying yoga and yoga principles. So I don't know
I just get it from business.
how many times that you get reincarnated or that I believe in reincarnation.
I'll ask my clients
I know that
crazy stuff.
energy is never created or destroyed. It just changes forms. And your spirit is pure energy.
We
So-
are pure energy.
Yeah, so it's never created or destroyed, it just changes forms. So anything is possible. As long as you believe in something, I think you're on the right path.
Father, Son, Holy Ghost, that's what I got today, you know, so it's interesting. I've been working for the Orthodox Church, and actually I've got to write up a deal to put the Orthodox Church out at 37th and Gage, because one of the leaders in the Orthodox Church think that the land that I sold them might not be the right piece of land. So what I may do, my Lawrence connection, Dana Kay,
Mm-hmm.
almost bought that land when he was going bankrupt in the housing business. He didn't go bankrupt because he solved all his problems. He went in, he moved his office into the bank, he got everything, his, he just worked, it was a workout. He worked his way out of the problem. And I talked him into buying 37th and Gage, and so I've got to work my way out of that deal just to get the slate clean, the karma slate in deals.
Oh, the karma slate and deals.
Yeah.
I think that's
It's-
why
it's real.
I think that might be the number one thing that does keep me out of entrepreneurial for-profit situations. Because you can't save your ass and your face at the same time. And to save your ass sometimes you have to do some pretty shady things. And I'm not interested.
But wait a
I'm not
minute.
interested.
What's shady about putting a
I
sign?
didn't say your specific situation. I said business in general.
Okay.
Yeah, so nonprofit is very cut and dry, and it's also very regulated, so.
Well, no, but see, that's kind of an interesting thing about Topeka. It's not that a deal gets done, it's who gets the deal, which then creates the shadiness. But I've been in.
That is for you to figure out.
Yeah, well, I've known it. I've known them all since I was born. But I enjoyed the 18 years away.
Yeah,
It was cool.
refreshing.
Yeah,
And
and
see
just
how
to
other
see
things
it.
work. Yeah.
It was so funny. When I was living in Clearwater, Florida, I looked out the window at an office in our place, in our apartment, and I looked at the window, and there's a guy that I know from Topeka. And I ran out and talked to him. I go, hey, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm kind of on the lam. He goes, I got warrants out for my arrest in Kansas, and they got good fishing. The weather's warm, so I'm lambing it down here. And like, oh man. But that was Florida. I lived in a county called Pinellas County, and it was the third the size of Shawnee County with 1 million people in it.
Wow.
It was the most densely populated county
God, no.
with the most densely populated people.
I got a friend in Pinellas County right now. No, I'm not interested.
Like what town?
I don't know. I can look at
St. Petersburg is beautiful. And then Clearwater Beach is like one of the number one beaches.
I'll have to look for a while to find it. It's my text messages.
They had like a 40,000 foot covered playground. Bianca, I'd go there every Sunday.
Yeah. I'm sorry I lost you. Tell me what
It's
beach it
okay.
was again.
Clearwater.
Clearwater Beach. I'm not interested in densely populated areas and humidity. And no, I'm good.
You got humidity in Sabetha.
Nothing like Florida.
Oh yeah. There's 2 seasons, summer and hotter. And California, it was an endless summer to me. It just droned on.
Yeah.
And I like the change. What's your favorite season?
Fall.
Yeah, fall's like a relief.
Yeah.
Fall's a relief. I kind of like winter.
Well, I don't hate winter as much as I used to. It's not my favorite, but
I'm looking forward to this summer. I like the heat. You know, I'm looking forward to this summer, but what's really fun is you can take every season. And so in life, if life were a season, what are you? Are you in a spring?
Oh, that's good. I am in. Wow. Yeah, I think I'm in a spring. I'm in a planning, and intention. I'm mapping out my garden, digging out my seeds and stuff like that. Yeah. Or actually, I think I'm in the work season. Is summer the work season?
I say summer in Kansas.
Yeah. My seeds are planted, I've got my intention, I know what I want to do, and now I'm doing the work to get to where I want to be. So I'm in summer.
Yeah, I'm in the summer too.
Yeah.
So I'm a July baby, and so being a July baby, this is my coming on my month.
Mm-hmm.
But I always loved the summers. I used to paint houses, I used to mow fields, and who didn't like summer?
Yeah.
I mean, summer memories, you know, they were great as a kid. I remember, like, the only rule we ever had growing up, you know, my mom and stepdad tried to raise us right. And I've had some real animosity against my stepdad, but he really tried to play, but he was living the script.
The script.
Yeah.
I hate the script.
But
it's needed.
But he was
necessary evil.
He had two different scripts. I liked him when he was playing the business script. You know, what he showed the public.
Yeah.
Because what he did when, you know, when the curtain's down during the scene change, it was not cool. There was some not cool stuff. And for a long time, the not cool outweighed.
That's what you focused on, was the negative.
The cool.
I did that for a long time too.
It took me a while to get over it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then what I did to get over it myself was I picked out everywhere that I used the positive things that I learned, and then I sort of thought, and I can say, you know, I'm grateful for what I learned, but that wasn't a good person, you know.
Well, then I looked at it. I'll go back to how he was raised, and it was Mom's fault. His dad was cool. His dad used to pay me $1 to follow down his string when he get a snag at Lake Sherwood where we grew up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I could go down there and unhook his lure, and he'd give me $1. We called him Grampy. But he was a cool guy. I liked Grampy. But Granny, she was not nice. You know, and this is the difference. The guy that I grew up with in business, Mace Siegel, Mike's uncle.
His uncle.
He was a guy. Let's get it all out on the table. Tell us what happened. You know, let's chop it up. You got to be honest. You know, he said, Henry, you don't need to get every nickel out of every deal.
Right.
And wait, look, you're going to get paid no matter what. So you don't lie. You know, people can see bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mace was like the complete opposite of Granny. We're going to take we're not going to talk about our problems. You know. And that way we won't have problems. Because if we're not talking about them, you know, we don't have problems. You know, we're above problems. And if I could, I know you hate this, but if you relate it to government, see, I look at government like an alcoholic. Our government, their spending, they don't have to be accountable because they don't have to pay the bar tab. So they're like an alcoholic. Power and spending and doing it, and we need to go into recovery. And that's what I think is trying to happen on a worldwide level is where's our money going? And this is what I'm saying is let's take your approach to austerity. Okay? If we don't need to be a big deal, each one of us, if we're just doing the right thing and we've got gas for our car and we can pay the light bill.
Right.
If we just live within our means and we don't try to be a phony person, we'll be better off. We'll be the ones that help humanity. And I just think we need to be more like that as humans.
That's my mission. That's my personal mission. Like in here, I'm not trying to get anybody else to live that way or,
But
push it
give
on
them
anybody.
the opportunity.
But that's just where I feel that's where I feel comfortable and I feel authentic in every situation when I live authentically.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
If you're watching the show today,
Oh,
what?
I'm better looking in person.
I'm lucky in the studio. All right, we've been on an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, I need to get some shopping done and go home.
All right. So we're gonna sign off. I'll bet you $1 we do this again.
What didn't we talk about though?
Well, we're gonna talk about next time. We're gonna talk about the progression
The auction.
of yoga.
Yeah, the auction. We talked about the art auction next first Friday.
July 2nd.
The first Friday, you're going to come and view the art at Agape
Gallery.
Agape Gallery. What's the address?
52 or 520 Southeast 5th Street. But why don't we just have people come whenever they want to, by appointment? Or look at our website.
You're going to have to be available to show them.
Okay. All right.
So whenever
So we'll just open up and
your real estate business is doing so great, you're making so much money that you don't have time to do this, but you also want to be open all the time.
well, it's easy to have. I'm trying to find somebody to run the gallery.
So you want to hire somebody to be there.
No, I want somebody to run the gallery.
So you want somebody to run it without pay.
They figure out how to make money on it.
Okay.
So if you had free space,
So just for today, we are planning on showing art at Agape Gallery the first Friday of July. The second Friday of July, we are having an art auction to benefit Agape Village,
Yes.
the nonprofit. So come on the first Friday, pick out your art. Come on the second Friday, bid on your art. And in the meantime, he's going to come up with some more crazy ideas.
And see, I got somebody running the gallery. Didn't even need to. All right. Thank you. Hey, I love you. If nobody's told you they love you today, I love you. Thanks for tuning in. And live intentionally today.
Live with intention.
Live with intention.
And stretch.
It's strange. All right. I love you all. Bye.